Internet, and welcome to the second episode of Titancraft. I'm hoping to be a busy bee here in this episode. And speaking of which, down here in the lower section of the ravine, we've managed to light it up and put some new farms in between when I finished the last episode. In particular, I have this cute little farm here, built by yours truly. Now let's see. Yeah, that seems like a satisfying amount of wax. And the honey's producing. Let's move some glass bottles around so that it continues to produce honey, but the problem with this, the honey section requires a bit more manual intervention than the wax. Starting from the far end of the ravine, other members of the Ravine crew have apparently located a zombie spawner. I think it belongs technically to one of the other server members, but we've got a deal and a tunnel, and a farm with some truly terrible rates of zombie spawns. But what can you do? Moving on along through the tour of the lower ravine and the new farms, we have the sugarcane farm over here. I could have helped dig it out, but I was too busy editing. We have a pumpkin and melon farm, which varying people in Ravine crew kept trying to bounce around to somebody else, and looks like someone finally got frustrated enough to actually build it. I approve. The inefficient cactus farm was already here, as was the public smeltery. I also, while helping to light up the ravine, made sure to safety-proof the lava down there, so hopefully there will be no close encounters of the lava kind. The enchanting setup got moved yet again and is now over here. And the carrot farm has not really changed in functionality, it just has a pretty facade. And is currently out of carrots, but that's not too much of a surprise. And that is all of the farms currently in the lower ravine. Heading on up out into the upper ravine, we have even more amethyst decorating the place, and it's, I believe, been set up to auto-farm some of the amethyst. We have this pit here, which I don't quite know what's going on, but it definitely seems like someone's doing something here. We have some extra water features that weren't here last time. Sauron's lair has now been decorated with plenty of dark blocks. Sorry. Sauron's lair now definitely shows some signs of where it might be developing into. Extra glow lichen has been added on to the onto Maget's hidey hole. Rodoga's little nook has been expanded out into a nice cave. And a new set of stairs has been added. The Nether is escaping. We have another bridge. Ooh, I like this window. Sparksoul's Nook has definitely had a revamp, complete with some decorative bee nests. We have here the public notice board where members of Ravine crew can post up varying to-dos around the ravine. That looks like another early nook carved into the cliff over there. Wonder what they'll do with it later on. Tinted glass. What's this? Pretty. Next to it. the bridge over here has gotten even more overgrown. And Nex has taken both sides of the ravine. And the blue wall down that end is still a blue wall, but there has been some discussion about whether or not we're going to expand the ravine out to house more people. And I love... Which block? What block is this? I'm gonna put it back. Deep slate bricks. I love the effect the deep slate bricks has in here. I will have to remember that for the more axolotls. So lovely. And meanwhile, my little base hasn't actually changed much. And since I don't have any more ideas for what to do with my starter base, I will instead start looking for the location to put my build for the season. As I climbed to the top of the ravine, ready to go exploring and looking for the location I will set up my build, I discovered that I had managed to neglect some new details in the ravine when I was doing my tour of what had changed between episodes. The tough terraforming I had noticed has expanded, and I definitely like the direction this is going. I also like the new base that's been carved in here, especially since that looks like the interior probably plays nicely with the verticality idea. And we have this that I had also failed to notice. A set of train tracks and train car that is heading across the ravine to parts unknown. Ah yes, I'm watching the sunrise tick a few ticks back down the horizon as the server lags slowly towards dawn. Well, onwards to new adventure and... Sorry, Creeper, not got time for you today. As one quests across the landscapes of Minecraft, one may find many inspiring views. Certainly, this is the sort of landscape that could inspire floating islands or other fantastic locales. Unfortunately, I already have my inspiration for my build, and thus will continue onwards to find some terrain that better suits my designs. And I think I will not try jumping into that lake. This hill is one that could perhaps have suited my needs, were it not for the rest of the mountain range so clearly in view. And likewise, this hill, too, is dwarfed by the shadow of the way I have come. Clearly, I must venture further. It seems that I have stumbled on to the trail of another Titancrafter. Yes, so this looks like the start of something. And that something appears to be a villager-powered crop farm. But I'm sure that they will continue building. And as I trek through the forest, I find what appears to be a bee nest. Unfortunately, that is still not enough to entice me to stay. And thus I continue. I am uncertain as to the exact nature of sorcery I perceive here. Be this the work of some titan, or simply an interesting failure of world generation, or an interesting success, depending on one's point of view. Certainly there is much successful about this ravine, even if it is also the strangest ravine I have ever seen. And lo, as I crest this hill in the plains, in the distance I spy A flower forest. It is not the bounty I sought, but it is bounty nonetheless. And I can work with this hill. Now, has this already been claimed, or is it mine for the taking? And oh, the wonder. Though this hill would need some creative restructuring for my intended build. And so I shall look in all directions. Is there another Titancrafter looking to claim this land as theirs? Or is it all mine? And standing from another high peak, I see still no signs of other titans. Perhaps I have found what I came to find. Is that natural in the distance? Well, we shall see. The presence of the unlit cave strongly suggests that this is not another Titan's domain, and these stairs are not the work of their hands, but of the server. And let us not fall into ravines as we quest. Or other pits in the ground. And as I scour the land, I still see no sign of any hand upon this land. Perhaps another might have had designs for this place, but given the utter lack of signs, soon this land shall be mine. And oh, that I could have this luck again in my next season. A flower forest abutting onto a swamp would be so useful for my plans for next season, but I will take it also now. And as I travel across hill and over vale, encircling the flowered mountain, it seems this land is still free to claim. And I will attribute, and my fortune pickaxe has provided a bountiful harvest, even if this is not something that can strictly speaking be mined. And truly, I am blessed with fortune. Greater than any enchantment on my pick. Now, the question becomes, where shall I set up my gatehouse? Which mountain shall I claim as the dragon's lair? I did not bring enough cobblestone to demark this. That'll do. That will do. And now to go around marking the edges of my territory. I think I wish that this land be unspoiled at least out to about here. I think I'll put the gatehouse over here, since the water suggests possibly where a road may be. No, here. Here is the right place. And while I sketch, let us set up a very interim storage on site so that no flowers are harmed or are truly lost. There we go. I now have a little bit more inventory space with which to sketch out my initial floor plan. 2, 3, consulting my notes, 5 block gap, wait, 2, 3, 4, 5. That cannot be right. But perhaps it is. Ah, that's why it cannot be right. Cheeky little blocks. And I still have just a tiny bit of blackstone with which to decorate. Perhaps I will come through later and add more blackstone to the foundation of this. But this is still enough to start a claim, and to start in time moving things into position. And perhaps I could randomize my placement a bit better. But nothing is truly random, only feigned but true randomness has not some of the quality that this feigned randomness has. And at this point, the major arch of my gatehouse is done, and it's time to start working into the transition to the upper stratum of the gatehouse. Which means time to head back to my starter base and pick up another load of blocks to bring out here. Along with some actual gosh darn ladders. Well, it's still not finished, but I think that this is a reasonable start on the gatehouse, and since I'm almost out of food, it's probably time to head back to Ravine and restock, rest up between episodes, come back with enough blackstone to actually finish the build. So, good night, Internet. See you all in episode 3.